So now we're going to take a look at some of the modelling applications that you can use Mesh for. So we've got a couple of items in our scene here. We're going to replicate a bike chain setup. So we're going to duplicate the teeth of the gear, and we're going to use the Mesh network to do this. So it defaults to linear. We're going to switch it to radial. And then we've actually got a locator in the scene already which matches the pivot point of the largest gear at the front. So we can just add a transform node here, and then our Mesh network will snap itself to the same point in space as that larger gear. So now we can go back to the distribute node and we can adjust some of the radial settings so that we can adjust the radius, we can increase the number of teeth instances if we want to, so we can populate that front gear very quickly and easily using this tool. While we've got this open here, we're going to add a color node just to add a bit of fun to this. We can actually add a rainbow effect to each of the teeth of that front gear. So this is just done by adjusting the random hue of the color node. We're going to do the same to the teeth at the back. So we're going to duplicate those, and adjusting the settings of the distribute node again, we can increase the radius, and again I've got a locator in the scene where we can add a transform node to snap it to the same point in space as that smaller gear. Again, I'm going to add a color node just to have a matching rainbow effect at the back. So the next stage of this is to duplicate the parts of the chain. So we've got one piece here already placed in the scene, and we're going to duplicate this. So adjusting the settings on the distribute node, we're going to increase the number of instances along X. Now because we've got this in the mesh setting of Mesh, it generates a repro mesh, which means we can deform it with any of Maya's deformers. So we're actually going to use the new curve warp tool for this. So we select our NURBS curve in the scene, apply it to the mesh, and as you can see, those chain parts have actually attached themselves to that curve. Now the nice thing is, because it's all procedural and live, we can still adjust the number of chain links and how they sit on that curve, so you can see how quickly and easily we're able to populate that chain so it looks correct. And everything is the appropriate volume still, so it's not stretched or distorted. So we're just going to flip the axes so the shading of this looks correct with the normals. And because it's all procedural and live, we can actually go in and go to our original NURBS curves, and we can still adjust the control vertices of this so that we can move how that chain sits on each gear. So as you can see, this would be a very quick and easy way to be able to rig a bike, for example, and you can adjust where the chain links will sit upon that curve as well if you wanted to have a rotation effect. With a little bit of maths, you can obviously figure out how many revolutions the front gear would need to do versus the back one, and then you could have an animated bike very quickly and easily using this Mesh setup.